how have y'all dealt with pressure, right? Because when you go to a therapist, I think they don't fix you, like they give you tools to learn how to do things, right? And so, are you willing to talk a little bit more about like these tools? Because you talked about meditation, you talked about.
Yeah, so when I started going, just like you said, they said, I can't fix you, I can't make you do things. You have to actively, go out and seek the things yourself. So I asked for help with finding things that would help me with anxiety. And they said, one of the things that they said to me was that you have a lot of energy like inside you and it's not being released. So that's what's making you feel anxious. So then I said, all right, well, I'm just gonna start running. I started running a mile every day.
I run to,
So just to get that out. And I would do it like once in the morning and then boom, I started going to sleep. No more panic attacks, anything. So really like just seeking that out for yourself. And
what about you? Like what's your major? You in the STEM field, right? Oh no, you switched up, right?
Yeah. So I'm a poli-sci major with a minor in psychology. But for me, it's different. Like, I don't talk about stuff.
You don't?
They talk about that a lot. I go through everything by myself.
He's a brick wall.
I go through everything myself. And
wall.
Because I have a lot of pressure on me. People will come up to me and be like, oh, you're the next president, right? You're going to do this, big doctor. Those old ladies that come and say, oh, I had a vision of you in my dream, doing this, doing this, that in the future. So I had a lot of pressure coming here, especially like compared to all my guys, I'm the only one coming to this institution doing big things the way I'm doing it. Like when I post, a lot of people comment, oh, I see you doing big things, because it's not something that's common back home.
That's a fact.
But how do you deal with that, right? Like, because you talked about having this immense amount of pressure on you, right?
So,
but how do you?
So pretty much what I did is I started reading more. Like there's points, as you say, you reach like a bottom, you reach like rock bottom, but then like when you start giving yourself good words of encouragement and motivation every day, it starts to help you. And even like I broke a little bit of my brick wall, and I've even had small conversations with him or even some other people, yeah. But for the most part, I'm still the same person. But I just uplift my mentality.
You see, I would disagree. I think because I've known you since the beginning. I think like the growth, like I think we've been able to see each other like mature on levels. And I think to answer your question about like how do we handle it, is because like I think unbeknownst to us, we don't like solely rely on each other, like even as a group. But we were always together to the point where like if it came down to it, we knew we had each other's backs. So we started building those support systems. Like when you talk about going to therapy and they give you tools, a lot of the times the tools are like things like you already know of, but you don't break down for yourself. So it's more just like we just put ourselves out there, like talk, like even being able to talk about it. I think the first step is being able to like acknowledge like, yo, I had like this is what I'm going through, and like putting it out into existence and like speaking upon it kind of takes away like the grip it has on you. Like it feels like, you kind of get like choked down, like you at your bottom, kind of releasing it and letting like it come to light. It takes away the like you hiding, like you're not hiding anymore. Like it is what it is. Like you take power over whatever is like crushing you, I guess.
And I think it gives an opportunity, right, to realize that you're not like alone, because sometimes like you'll be thinking something, and there's an assumption that I got to be the only person experiencing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would bring people over to my house, like grown men, 40s, 50s, in my house, and we would have these discussions. And it was this brother, he was sitting over like in the section over there, and he was like, "Yo, this is the first time I had a conversation like this with men." And he's like, 58 years old, and he's never had like a conversation like about men where we're not putting on the front. Like we talked about it. Like people went through divorce, people left them, people lost a child, and all of this stuff, and they sharing these things. And then it was like building this community that, okay, you're not alone. Now we're not therapists, and we can't necessarily, tell you how to be the best version of you, but we're going to be an ear for you. You know what I mean? In that space where a lot of us think that we got to be hard and put on this front to keep up our image for one another, but it's pointless.
To an extent, though, because ego runs a big thing. Ego runs a big thing in the community. Mm-hmm. So even if a lot of people, especially at this University, I don't want to at anybody. People will put on the front
People put
in front of everyone, but behind closed doors, they're a much softer person, quiet to themselves, and don't have the same ideologies that they say outside. So I think that, you know, some people, they gotta start being natural, actually being themselves, yeah.